Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today is Tuesday, the release of the finale for Season 2's Living World Guild Wars 2. It's called Point of No Return. Honestly, this will be a bit of an interesting video. There's a lot to talk about with this patch, but I'm going to be partitioning it off and doing it in separate little productions. Here, I just want to talk about the patch generic stuff, generally how enjoyable it was and what we can expect. As ever with a Living World patch, you're going to be looking here at another playable episode in your story journal. This one's called Point of No Return, and lengthwise, this one is far more comparable to some of the other longer patches we've had this half season. It's spread across 3, roughly, instances that are actually fairly long in size, and just like previously when we first got to visit the Derman Priory Library, we can do that once again with a whole bunch more interactable stuff. Now, this is very exciting to me as a lore player, as somebody who did a huge tour of all those books last time we saw it, and it was all very exciting, very fun. This time when you head to the Derman Priory, you will once again be able to read a bunch of books, and books that we never read before, but rather than having their full contents detailed, instead we just get a summary of what those books may be. So for example, there might be a book that says, hey, this book is about herbs that grow in Ascalon. Hey, this book is about famous warriors of the Maguma jungle. Hey, this book is about the histories of combat around Tyria. You know, generic examples like that. Sometimes you can glean some fairly cool lore information from them. I am curious a little as to whether ArenaNet were originally going to have all of those fleshed fully out, but still, I found it rather interesting. And in addition to this, as this instance continues, we actually get the opportunity to study a whole bunch of artifacts throughout that library too. Now, in the story, we've been aware for a long time that the Derman Priory are hoarding a lot of magical artifacts away down there, and maybe the main show of the library isn't even the books that are stored away there, but instead the artifacts that the Priory possess. And so this patch, Point of No Return, will give us the opportunity to look at a whole bunch of those and see the kind of things they've got. So there are carcass shells there. We'll be able to actually study that giant block of jadeite with the sea worm within it, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The general premise of the plot is, just to recap for you guys, as this will be important considering it's the finale, multiple things are going on. Number one, the Pact have decided that yes, they do indeed wish to fight Morgemoth. They wish to take the fight to Morgemoth. Traherne's thinking that this is the perfect opportunity to strike because Morgemoth is only just waking up. Historically, when an Elder Dragon wakes up, they go kind of mental and devastate a whole bunch of lands. Well, what Traherne thinks, if we can destroy Morgemoth or damage it significantly before it even has a chance to do that, this could save lives. So they're poised to attack right now. With them are a few members of Destiny's Edge, so a few that are remaining. Ritlock is missing in the mists throughout this season since his disappearance. We've been getting messages from Twitter from the developers showing perhaps some of his story within the mists. But Gw2 had a dramatic exit last patch in which she stole a powerful magic object from us, which I'll talk about in just a second. And so the 3 remaining members of Destiny's Edge are now stuck with the Pact, and they feel they cannot leave, for if they were to abandon Traherne here, then morale would drop very low. And so this is kind of the split that we have right now. Further, beyond this, we have the story of, like, Destiny's Edge 2.0, of course, and we, the player character, who are looking for Keith, who stole Glint's egg. So the plot has set up this idea that an Elder Dragon, should it be destroyed, will leak magic chaotically into the world, and this is a very bad thing. The Elder Dragons are probably here for a reason. Now, we can try and destroy the Elder Dragons, as we did with Zaitan, and perhaps upset the balance, perhaps spurring the birth of Morgemoth, or we can perhaps try to create a new Elder Dragon, perhaps an Elder Dragon that would be favourable to us. ArenaNet have set up many hints that Glint, a powerful dragon we met in the first game, but died between the 2 games' 250 years period of time, this dragon was a very favourable dragon to us and was poised to become an Elder Dragon, was poised to perhaps replace her previous master, Kraukatoric, should Destiny's Edge have been able to slay him. However, when all this happened in the book and that failed, Glint was killed, and so this plan of replacing one angry Elder Dragon with another, in theory, kind of went out the window. That is until recently, when a group of flying merchants known as the Zephyrite, who travel around the world, are revealed to be the successors of the Brotherhood of the Dragon, protectors of Glint almost. And these people, their leader, the Master of Peace, found within Glint's lair after she had died an egg. Another egg from Glint. Another suggestion that even though Glint is now dead, perhaps her offspring is just powerful enough to help return the balance. This egg could have been exactly what we needed to stop Tyria falling completely out of whack. However, in a shock twist at the end of the last patch, Kaith steals this egg from us after we go to a lot of effort to retrieve it. Kaith is mysteriously very interested in the egg, and we have no understanding as to why, and she runs away. Things get a little bit more complicated with the fact that Kaith is a Sylvari, and the Sylvari seem to be under the effect of Morgemoth somehow. There have been many community theories about why this could happen. Perhaps there is some link between the Sylvari and the Morgemoth. Nothing has been confirmed so far, but if this is true, and she ends up as a Morgemoth sleeper agent with the egg, this could spell disaster. So those are the two stories going on. That's what you're going to be experiencing at the end of the patch. And overall, I would say I was fairly happy with the story. It takes a very dark turn, which of course I won't spoil for you guys, but so dark even, in my opinion, it feels a little bit out of place for Guild Wars, but this is what I've been begging for so long. I've been begging for something dark. And so, even though it felt out of place and a little bit jarring, I very much commend the devs for making this move. And I guess I'll talk more spoiler-full about this in another video coming up a little bit later. The patch ends with some interesting events, I'll say that much. So let's move on to some other stuff, not necessarily about the story. I've got the patch notes here. As you guys should expect, we can finally finish with this next update to the Silver Wastes, our Carapace and Luminescent armor sets. This is really cool. I will probably be doing a lot more Silver Waste grinding. In addition to the story that they added, they're actually expanding the map in a big way. Now, again, because I play on stage, we couldn't quite get Zergs together to be able to experience this stuff. However, some third parties have already been releasing information about the way that the new boss added to the Silver Wastes will function. I'm reading this from Zam.com. They say, meanwhile, the war in the Waste continues as the Pact sizes up the Vinewrath, a lieutenant of Morgemoth that has claimed a portion of the Silver Waste as its own. The fight will take player coordination together with the Pact to fight down 3 separate lanes and take out the Vinewrath's 3 deadly champions. We kind of had a hint at the Vinewrath again in the actual story steps early on in this season when we scouted it out with Kaith. So it does look like it's going to be a new boss. The severity, the difficulty of this boss is up in the air. I desperately want it to be another Mega Boss on the scale of Tequatl or the Triple Trouble Worm. If it is, you can expect a fair amount of content from me and my guild, which is oriented for taking these things out, actually trying to slay this thing. But that is only if it's actually difficult. Moving on, there is also a slight update to the gem store coming, or rather a new set of Black Lion weapons. These are the Morgen weapons. I think pretty much every single one of them is really ugly, guys. I'm sorry, I just do. Except the staff. I think the staff is pretty badass, and you should hopefully be able to see some previews of that right now. The staff is cool. The rest of it's just a bit too colourful for me. They're very bold. They're very garish. And again, you guys know my dislike for a lot of the Black Lion stuff anyway because of the collections. So yeah, but that's been added, and there is a new mail carrier, which also, as long as I'm not a fool, should actually be in the background there for you too. They also say, on the topic of rewards, people completing the story, they will actually get a bandit chest for their home instance. Curiously, it is a bandit chest, considering barely anything this season's had anything to do with the bandits, except the fact they were once in the Silver Wastes, but booked it before we arrived. But that's fine, so we will get a permanent chest for our instance. That's really cool, and something I'm looking forward to being able to open each day once again. And further, there is further incentive, and this may suggest at World Boss status, or very difficult status, for the Vinewrath, because they say players who go up against the Vinewrath will receive the Hero of the Wastes boon that grants 50% bonus magic find and extra bandit crests from various events throughout the map. Now, if this is just like perseverance, then maybe that's not too exciting, but if this is like a permanent thing that you get once you finally defeat the Vinewrath, That could be cool, though the longevity of a mechanic like that makes me doubt it really does work that way. There were a bunch of skill tooltip updates this patch, and even like some really small trait interactions. For example, necromancers have a trait that increases the damage their marks do, and this never actually worked with their lich form marks, which actually now it does, so that's pretty cool. And just small basic things like that. There is some change on the SPVP side. The test season will now have concluded, so people who came placed well in there will actually get the rewards for that. They say that they are adjusting matchmaking with higher skilled players. This will probably affect me. I've been PvPing a lot with guildies who never PvP, and I think I've been basically getting free rides where I'm going up against like noobs and then we end up trashing them. So I think they're probably going to change that. They also say that they added an accumulating grace period for disconnects, allowing people to reconnect and finish the game without receiving dishonor. It was quite punishing before. For those of you who don't know, dishonor is a buff that stops it, or a debuff that stops you from being able to play PvP should you quit out of a lot of matches, resulting in 4v5s and no fun for anyone else, okay? So, Guild Wars 2 is actually a pretty good game with its dishonor system, in my opinion, in that it is very strict, but it looks like they're loosening their grip a little bit, because it does suck if you disconnect right at the end of a game, you don't get any rewards, and then you also run the risk of actually getting dishonor too. Yeah, that's not really fair. And a couple of bugs were apparently fixed. As I say, guys, this is a bit of a short one. This is the patch, though, in a nutshell for you. I will talk about more of the story-based stuff. I'll say just, first of all, you should probably go in there, enjoy it. Just a little bit later on this evening, I will have a much longer video talking about some other stuff. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy. The patch should be coming out very soon if it's not already out because I'm late. And I'll see you next time.